from the Daily Times, Marcus Fitzsimmons and Troy Prove O'Haron.
Hello, everybody, and greetings from the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville. I'm Mike Edwards, the Greenfield Gunner, along with Donnie Moore and Marcus Fitzsimmons, and this is the Goatee Sports Page. The Tennessee Vols head to Kentucky for a huge SEC matchup, and we're going to the whistle blows. And now, sponsored by Blunt Partnership. The University of Tennessee Sports Report, sponsored by the Cherokee Group and the Murphy Bobcat SEC Note, investigating the Tennessee program and set the stage for today's game with Kentucky. Donnie Moore will update us on high school scores and news from around the area, and then mark it down with Marcus Fitzsimmons. Maryville High School girls wrestling. The Anderson Lumber Company Player of the Week segment will be in the lineup as Marcus Fitzsimmons features Heritage Mountain. Spotlight shines on college basketball as we break down the SEC standings and present today's show, as our panel will make some college basketball. Cherokee Group, UT Sports Report, and the Murphy's Bobcat SEC Notebook featuring Marcus Fitzsimmons and Donnie Moore. Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the another week of Goatee. We're supposed to have an early spring.
Yeah, Punxsutawney Field saw didn't see his shadow. So.
He's only right about 40% of the time, but on the Today Show,
he's hitting 400.
Al Roker was doing there on there, so maybe that's not so bad. But hey, it
a great week. I don't know what you're talking about.
The girls' basketball team lost down at Mississippi, and got beat by South Carolina at home on Monday, which was kind of a shocker. And then here we go with some as far as investigations go. So we're going to talk about all. I've got Let Her Rip last Sunday with the Lady Vols playing Ole Miss, and I'm going to rip Kelly Harper and her coach Sunday, and that lost to Ole Miss 80-75 with seconds left. The Lady Vols just decided to let the clock run out. The L, I don't know, Marcus, what were they thinking? The game wasn't over. They could put them on the free throw line to make a go of it right there. You never know. They might miss a free throw. You come down, hit a three, put them back on the line. I just felt like they needed to foul right there, extend the game. Like I said, it was only a two-possession game, but they didn't obviously see it that way. Huh?
Well, they didn't. They didn't try to extend it.
No.
Maybe that was intentional. It was not the norm you would expect from a competitive team in that situation. I mean, we know that much. But whether they thought they could, the communication just wasn't, or if they were intentionally just making a conscious decision not to extend it, I don't know.
Or Donnie, maybe
just gave up.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I was a little disappointed they didn't play that out, but they came back against Georgia. Of course, Georgia Wednesday night. And
they got Key back.
Yeah, they played real well. They shot the ball well, played like they're capable. Hey, let's talk a little bit about this NC supposedly taking place over at Tennessee, and that's really the big news that's coming out of Knoxville, and that is that Tennessee is under investigation again by the and the violations seem to be centered around their handling of the NIL situations. But supposedly the violations involve multiple sports. So I guess really, Marcus, when we talk about this investigation, they know something about what's going on with the investigation over. Your take to get us started on on what's happening here.
But everybody remember the NCAA stands for not consistent at all when it comes to this. Interviewing athletes, they've been going over UT phone records for a couple weeks. During that time, UT has asked to meet with the president of the NCAA for an explanation as to what's going on. They refused it, and Chancellor Plowman made mention of that in her letter that has now been put out there. What the allegations are, we know what the NCAA statement, which is the fact they made a statement is just very uncharacteristic. This out to SI to report on it is not uncharacteristic. It's about the third or fourth time they've done that recently. Everything they've been looking at, as far as we know, seems to be focused on Nico's recruiting and on one plane flight. Net, which is basically, if we can't prove anything happened here, we're going to leave ourselves open to go fishing for other stuff, is what it sounds like. And I don't think wrongly, and I think justifiably so. And they weren't the only one. I mean, we focus. They may not have responded as strongly, but their state joined the lawsuit with Tennessee later in the NCAA.
Yeah. Well, first,
Right.
and then if they find anything, then UT will be given a list of allegations. And at that time, they can respond, and then I think that we had in the Jerry Pruitt situation where, it drags out and, everybody crosses their eyes, crosses the group, seems to be initially, which is the sports group that handles the NIL money here. That is the recruitment of Nico Iamaleava, the Tennessee quarterback. Their relation is transporting him here to Knoxville, and also money, supposedly the $8 million or whatever figure has been out there. Signed. Now, I don't know the NCAA rule book. I haven't read all of the rules in there. The chancellor says that what's taking place, the violations are and the rules are vague. I guess my question is, if the NCAA's in here, Tennessee has, they paid $8 million and hit on the 18 level 1 violations in the last spring or whenever. If you do that, and we're saying that the rules are vague, do you not make a telephone call or have communication with the NCAA before you'd send a jet out there? Or before they graduated from high school, if in fact that is in the rules? I don't know.
But that's not it. But that's yes, Nico came out here on a private jet. But jet paid for by Sprite Group. Agent of Sprite, not as a recruit to the University of Tennessee. There's a difference. So NCAA on their rule, which, let's face it, they have not enforced since it was introduced, was that basically you can't tell a kid what your collective might give him. Well, that's absolutely retarded. Independent agents, what their value might be, and you have that in the recruiting databases as to what their value. So far behind this at this point, the race is over, and you're still in the starting line.
Public knowledge. And
and now you're wanting to come back and retroactively say, well, if that's the case, then there is not a Division I school in the country that is not in a major violation at this point.
Well, you brought up a good point right there, and I'll ask Donnie Moore this question. Which means, well, they picking on Tennessee, everybody else does it. Well, if ever, and Tennessee now is calling the cards as far as the NCAA go, why isn't everybody jumping in there with Tennessee and helping them out in this situation? If everybody's doing it, it's just Tennessee and nobody else. I don't see Auburn or Alabama or Ole Miss. I don't see their chancellors or presidents or
right now. I think they're scared.
Yeah, they are.
Right now, if they applied this rule this way, they can come after literally anybody. You're pretty much asking to get investigated. But there's only so much of that before.
Interested to see how this is going to work out for a while.
I understand that Spire Sports is an independent agency. That's basically what you're saying.
Well,
I mean,
there's two things.
Okay.
That negotiates with the collective. It is not Spire Group is not the actual collective that pays the athletes money. It is independent of the university.
Well, how if UT's not working with this independent outfit, whatever it might be, how did Nico to have some communication with UT on getting this player in here? I mean, there had to be some discussions about it. Just doing it for their own good and saying, hey, we got a deal cut here. Do you want him here at the University of Tennessee? There's got to be some discussion on who they go out. University and that independent agency, does it not, Donnie?
I would think so. They call them boosters, don't they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now that rule didn't come in. The NCAA didn't put that rule down until last spring, and then said, "Oh, by the way, we're going to retroactively apply this backwards a year." So even though sorry you didn't know about that going into it.
But going back to my initial question, if you've got any questions about any of this, Donnie, would you not make? You know, we're involved in this type of deal. Is this under your regulations? Do this? Why would you just go ahead and do it?
Because
I don't understand that.
Permission.
Yeah.
And it depends on with this. It can literally depend on which person you talk to on which day at the NCAA headquarters, because
you're right,
the memos and the guidance contradict each other. It wouldn't do you any good if somebody later comes in and says, well, you did it wrong. Well, this is what you told me to do. That doesn't matter. We're retroactively changing it.
Okay, that's probably.
All we know is that there's maybe a plane trip, private plane sent out Nico in here, and maybe he was offered the money before he signed here. That's about all
I've seen. Yeah. In the 3 cases we know about that the NCAA is looking at involving NIL right now, it was reported before that the collectives had put a value to the player. And that's not the only case. Value put forward before signing day, which would be, it's a violation in that you're not. That value is that was coming from the collective telling a news agency what they had planned.
Rules. I don't know if either one of you have read all of the rules.
I haven't.
But if they've got rules and they feel like this is the rule that all the member schools need to follow, you're going to get investigated, in my opinion. And that's what's happening. All the programs I've seen on TV and all the writing that they're all down. There's people out there saying they just doesn't have any more power anymore. It's a junk organization. that. Okay, if let's just take that scenario, Marcus. Let's just do away with it. And you got right now the SEC and you got the two stepchilds, ACC. Basically, it's the Big Ten and the SEC, and they say, well, okay, we don't have to belong to the. You don't have to belong to it. The way I understand. So they break away. So how's that going to be set up? Are they going to have a professional situation like Major League Baseball or the NFL and just have a commissioner? And, well, who's going to set the rules? Who's going to enforce the rules? Is it just going to be the commissioner? That'd be the simplest way. You with a reprimand or whatever. It doesn't take 2 years. Get a fine. You're not going to be in the playoffs. Scholarships are going to be taken away. I mean, well, heck, maybe that's the way they need to go. It's a professional sport. But if they don't want to do that, what do you want to do with the NCAA? I mean, the NCAA is made up of the member schools. Obviously, the presidents and the athletic directors have had some say in the rules that they've set up. So,
my mind, the detriment is going to be to Division II, Division III, because also that came out this week, the NCAA made 1.3 23 school year. Now, about half of that went back to the schools, to member schools, but when you think about that kind of money, and how much of that is when you take the 16 from the SEC, 20 from the Big Ten is what it's going to be, 18, whatever. You're talking about basically the 40 biggest schools with a few exceptions still sitting out there, and make somebody new start over. And what you said is absolutely true, because we saw it this year when there was a problem in the Big Ten Commission this season.
Yeah, that's true.
The NCAA is still not even officially acknowledged they've opened an investigation into the same matter.
As I've mentioned, they've got deep pockets and they got big britches. They got the money.
They do.
And they obviously feel like they've got the series up until about 1995, and the guys with the big money and the deep Massey's, the Roger Penske's, decided we'll just break off from USAC and we league, and we'll take all the best teams with us. We'll take all the best drivers with us, and we'll break them. We'll just plain break them. Sounded like a good idea, but they got out there, and what happened was they just let all the wolves, that they had a better idea. And their better ideas was self-serving. It was what we wanted instead of what was best in IndyCar, and they've resolved that. But the scars are still there. I mean, they're still trying to work themselves where it was. Could it happen again with college football? Marcus, I believe it could. I believe it could.
We've seen this coming. This wasn't like the train just appeared. We've seen the light the last 3 years since this foolishness started with the NIL. Because they took the approach of basically, for as long as it's been in enforcement, the NCAA has been years ago, it was, you know what, we're going to let you run around with your friends in the yard, but don't you all get dirty. Okay, and now they're surprised. Really?
Well, situation, Donnie. And the transfer portal, if we're sitting here, NIL, and how do they feel about the transfer portal? How does everybody feel about all of that? I don't know. I don't know how they feel about all of that. The NCAA is right in there, and I just don't. You need a governing body. You need that governing body.
You need a governing body, but you need a governing body that can function. And the NCAA is. It can prove it can negotiate TV rights, but as far as trying to be the cop on the beat,
well, maybe the answer to the situation is to break away from the NCAA. You got a better deal. You want to go on out there and do your own deal, and you want to set your own rules up. You think you can manage all of that, and do all that, and be fair.
Well, the threat they've got the threat there.
And then you go and I get kind of tickled with I've heard this student we want to do what's best for the student athlete.
Yeah.
And I don't. Maybe you guys can respond to this if you want to, but I don't even know if student athlete anymore is the right term. Their athletic ability and trying to get them into school and giving them compensation for their name. And the student part of it, those are the student athlete. That's what administrators and chancellors and they're throwing that out there. And the way it is,
they're athletes that they have to go to class while they're in school.
And I'm sure there's a lot of student athletes over at these universities that aren't getting money to play sports. That's professionalism, out and out professionalism. Well,
that's what it is.
If Major League Baseball direction, and I can see a commissioner and go with it right there and throw the money out there and what it is. It's plain and simple. It's professional sports.
We'll go back to it. They had the opportunity to put this into a format and put some rules down and and they chickened out. It did not happen. There was no structure given. It was go fix it after the fact is what we've come with where we are now. So there's a way to fix this without tearing the whole thing up, which is simply to threaten them. And that we're kind of on fix it. What if we get Congress involved and put down a federal rules about this and scare anybody into taking care of their problem? But that's where they're headed. We already had hearings on this. All the member institutions into saying we got to fix this before we get it messed up.
They can all work together with the NCAA and fix it.
The conference presidents could fix this.
You're talking about going to Congress and doing all these different things. I don't know. The Big Ten and the SEC have formed a joint advisory group of university presidents, chancellors, and athletic directors to address the significant challenges facing college athletics and how to improve the student athlete. The SEC and the Big 12 weren't invited, but the Big Ten and the SEC is going to have a discussion. So it just seems to me like now is everybody needs to work together to improve the rules that fit everybody and they're satisfied. And form your own group.
Yeah, and I mean,
is that where we're at?
I think you will see one without forcing. You're going to force it one way or another because the situation is not improving. So now they're trying to fix that, which situation where it's literally blatantly being have people being recruited that way openly, not just like this is what I went out there and I had a discussion with somebody, but on air and saying, "Hey, Mike, you're going to come play for UT? We're going to give you $2 million. Call me," and doing that as straight out blatantly recruiting that way.
Yeah. Before we get out of here, are we jumping the gun a little bit? Should we not wait and see what the violation or if there's allegations and see how that stacks up with the rules that's already been there? Or is everybody just broke and they've just made up their mind without really looking at the whole situation? Well, that they're broke and they're just not
rules that there's not many they could break. There's just not that much official rules or guidance to go on.
Yeah. First, and then we'll see.
They can present it, but how are you? The fact that they didn't develop the way it has says they don't have any. They can't find anything in the rules to pin on Tennessee. Documented everything the way they were supposed to.
Okay, so if that's the case, then just an investigation, and that'll be where it ends.
Should be.
That's where it ends.
Yeah.
Well, it would be. Mm-hmm. What few they have, that suit will get rid of the big ones they have.
Yeah. So far. So we'll see. We'll see where it all goes. But Donnie, certainly different than the good old days. It seemed like it was a lot simpler back in the 60s and 70s, where you just signed the grant and aid and you knew exactly what you were going. $15 a month,
laundry money,
and gosh, you're just satisfied to get a scholarship.
That's it.
You're just satisfied. Changed.
Go down to Volunteer Market and get you a hot dog.
Have times changed? Well, I don't know. I don't. Those days, I look forward to going to school, but it certainly. Donnie Moore will provide high school scores and sports news from around the area, and veteran sports writer Marcus Fitzsimmons joins us with his feature Mark It Down. You're listening to page, Blount County Sports Voice, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
It's payday, and on payday, you want to have access to your money right away. When you enroll for direct deposit at Knoxville TVA Employees Credit Union, your money comes to you with no waiting. It's the fastest and most secure way to get paid. Getting set up is easy. All you need is your account number and our routing number. Find out more at tvacreditunion.com. Join us now. Federally insured by NCUA. Some restrictions apply. Ask for details.
Since 1920, Anderson Lumber in Alcoa has proudly served and supported communities. But did you know Anderson Lumber is so much more than a lumber? And see our incredible kitchen showroom, from floors to cabinets and everything in between. Anderson Lumber's experts can help you design your dream kitchen. Then our install team will make it a reality.
Wow.
For anything home, we welcome 7,000 items online at AndersonLumberCompany.com. Anderson Lumber, since 1925.
Remember, Aubrey's is also really into Blount County. Aubrey's Maryville has been a strong programs for more than 15 years. From baseball to football, dance teams and marching bands, Aubrey's has helped schools and youth programs generate thousands of dollars. It's easy for us to do because it's the right to eat. We hope you'll choose Aubrey's. Real comfort, real food, real good. See what's on the menu at Aubrey's Restaurants. Dylan Davis, and has been a fixture in Maryville since 1987. Guitars, amplifiers, products available at Merlin's. Merlin's also offers a 24-track audio engineer, Rusty Chambers. Visit Merlin's at 1920 East Lamar Alexander Parkway or call 977-0093.
We all want our loved ones to be safe. Denso in Maryville is at the forefront of creating technology for safer vehicles. Join the automotive industry with Denso's fast, challenging, clean, and safe environment. They offer great benefits and competitive pay, as well as a convenient on-site healthcare facility, cafes, fitness center, and more. Start your future now. Entry-level production positions start at $16 an hour for second or third shift. Visit densocareers.com/Maryville to learn more and apply. The Bluetick.
Welcome back to the Goatees sports page, and next up is Donnie Moore. And Donnie, we had some exciting basketball last night. Had a rivalry game.
Sure did, Mike. You know, anytime on
on the hard court, things get heated up.
Yeah.
And they did over at Maryville
Yeah, I
last
watched
night.
that game, boys,
Sure.
last night playing over at Maryville, and you get two teams like that are having good years. A lot of people showed up. That's great. Great to
did.
see all those fans in there. And,
Yeah.
And tournament's getting closer, and the enthusiasm.
They packed the gym over at James Campbell Gymnasium last night, and I'll tell you about that one. Let's start out with the Mandy B. Street Realty local scoreboard. I'll tell you about a game, first of all, Thursday night this week. Heritage at Sevier County. Thursday night. 45-42 in the girls contest.
They're a very tough team, but Sevier County is also playing extremely well.
They're hard to beat at home.
I think they were playing Morristown West last night in a close one. But both of those programs are doing.
And Sevier County boys won that one, 62-55.
That was an overtime.
That.
I think Heritage could have come away with a win there, but and they're going to be visiting.
Good. Moving along to last night's action, Alcoa hosted Gatlinburg Pittman, and that is always.
GP came with an
attitude too. I know.
they put on they put on a lot of pressure.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But
it did.
then the boys, kind of flipped that same script around.
You were telling me that was a comeback win.
It was a close game in the third, and kind of pulled away and put this away. And
compliments of Mr. Carter, I assume.
He may have had something to do with that run. It's all
did.
It's hard to imagine one of those runs without him.
Special kind of play.
They're going to, and they play again in I think it's 8 days.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they get Alcoa with 2 meetings with GP. I don't think Alcoa or GP either one would be real excited that's the way it broke. Tournament, and it's going to be a good one. It's to see who gets the 1 seed and 2 seeds, and both the boys and the girls.
I'm sure you're. I have a score for Eagleton at Pigeon Forge girls last night. Pigeon Forge took that one. Couldn't find a score for Eagleton boys.
I could not either. I looked a couple places for that and couldn't find it.
Last night. That's
a district game.
That's a district game, and won both games by Midway. Midway won that one 66-30. In the boys' game, Greenback could not find to defeat Midway. They were also beaten 64-38. Greenback's on the struggle bus this season, aren't they?
But this is basketball is just a postseason.
It is
sport happening in the
might
tournament.
Catch fire in the tournament. We hope they do. Moving on to that Maryville Jimmy. That's right. William Blunt's 8 girls season, and they could only muster 37 points last night, Mike. Maryville took. Of course, Maryville's 6-18 on the season, but they sure played better than that last night.
The Maryville girls, they're building some momentum for the tournament.
Right, they are.
I think between them, I think the 4 and 5 seeds are going to go one, but it could impact how far either one of them could go as to which one gets the 4.
I'd imagine you're right. 48-36. That one went to overtime.
Again.
Yeah. Maryville's 18-6. William Blunt's pretty good basketball teams, but that one ended up 73-67. Maryville at the Jimmy last night. William Blunt had a couple of free throws and threw the ball away a couple of times and just kind of. Maryville didn't. They hit free throws and played pretty well and won that one by 6 then in overtime, 73-67.
And, Maryville's going to hosting Hardin Valley to do one of the makeup from snow. I think William Blunt's got a makeup game today as well on the road.
Hawk.
You've got a week left in the regular season, basically, for basketball before you get into those district tournaments.
Yeah.
And just good district tournament games.
You better believe it.
With the Maryville. With
District's at Maryville, isn't it?
Yeah, it's supposed to be. Maryville, William Blunt.
22-1.
And that one loss was to Maryville.
Yeah, that's true.
And then you've got Alcoa's district with GP and Alcoa, and then you've got Austin East in that mix. That's going to be a good. The Heritage Tournament's looking like it's going to be fairly interesting as to who's going to follow Heritage into region. So, I mean, we're going into a good postseason.
Listening to WKCE 92.5 FM and 1180 AM, Mid-Century Radio, and now I'm going to lob it over to our veteran sports writer, Marcus Fitzsimmons, for his feature.
Well, thank you, Donnie. You get better with that transition every week.
Got to. It's a lot of practice.
Well,
let's do.
Because we fell a little bit behind with wrestling due to some of the scheduling. I'll explain that in a minute. So we're coming in after. But we're getting ready to go into the individual postseason. So, Coach, thanks for coming in.
Our pleasure.
Let me start off with a little bit of the recap, because this is not been. You all did rather well there. Can you kind of talk about how that kind of is working out? Because it's still a numbers game, but you all did rather well to come in, I think.
Down to a couple of key matchups that were coin tosses, but the biggest thing for us is this is a growing sport. I think female wrestling, at least at the collegiate level, over the past 10 years, it's been lacrosse. So women's wrestling is definitely catching up. So usually the teams that have the most participants are getting, the better scores. So we can literally win every head-to-head matchup that we're not filling a complete roster yet. You're digging yourself out of a hole that you can't climb through. So with the limited number, we've done exceptionally well. We've won a tournament, placed second in a big tournament, so with basically just 5 scores. So
People may not be familiar with it. You get the same number of points in a match for a pin as you do for a forfeit. 4 pins. And that's really hard to overcome.
For sure. You could literally, if there's 12 matches, if you do 5, you automatically give the other team 30 points. So you can win the next 7 by minor decisions. The forfeits, you still lose the duel. So,
and how is East Tennessee kind of shaping up as far as others that seem to be building? Catholic's one of them that seem to be building good in quality but good in numbers.
Yes. Yeah, and that's the thing too for us is that, like I said, the recruiting is a large aspect. But you got Cleveland, which is the interesting thing is like most of our girls, they're like basically one friend group. Our big goal coming in the future is just to show that this is even an opportunity that's available to girls, because it's amazing the amount of girls that do it that first time. But yeah, as far as like numbers growing, it's growing. Gibbs is a big one. We're big. Seymour's getting a lot of numbers. So.
And I for one, find it impressive because I remember it hasn't been all that long ago since I was at the state tournament and, Expo Center and basically just exhibition matches. And now we're to the point where it's a whole organize a separate state tournament and, major step for the sport to go through in a very short period of time.
Yeah, and it's what's amazing is the amount of years ago, these two girls right here would be hands down with their technique and their talent right now would be dogfight, for them to medal. So that's how quickly the sport has risen technique wise, and it's fun to see.
Well, you're making that transition and making the flop. What do you feel better with this team as what they can do individually now, where you don't have to worry about forfeits or anything in a
Absolutely. I mean, we have a couple of girls, both of them higher in their weight classes. We've got a few more that I expect to do pretty well. So I think we probably got, if we can for the state tournament, and that's a lot. I mean, that's a big. We probably are on par 4 or 5 at least.
I'll give you on the spot here. Introduce and kind of what they are, where they are as wrestlers, and what.
Okay, so I've got, like I said, 2 Hannahs, and so in order to keep them captain, she leads the team. She's our only senior. She's a phenomenal wrestler. She's going to be wrestling in college. And off of it, and so I call her Cap, short for captain, obviously. And then I've got Hannah Perry as far as her attitude, what she brings to match. I mean, she's there. I'm telling you, she's there for every single thing, and it's really paying off a lot for her. So that's my 2 Hannahs.
Well, we'll pick on Cap. I'm just going to say maybe she's embarrassed, but is that a wrestling bruise?
Yeah.
Is that something is that a pride scar? Pride
yeah,
mark?
yeah,
Okay.
It really is. My aunt, I was getting ready. Cover up? I'm like, no. Like bruises are like the trophies.
See, this is the attitude I like. So, what got you onto the mat? How did you find wrestling, or did wrestling find you?
So it was kind of a push and pull game with it. So I started wrestling in California, and so I had like a year of experience before I moved here, because I just wrestled 7th grade, and then I was like. And so what really got me into wrestling was probably my dad. I was always a daddy's little girl, and so this is something that brought me closer to him.
Well, that's great. So that's right. You're wrestling at 145. Is
Yes.
that right? So you across this region. How do you feel like going into? Feel good about what you think you can do with sectional?
Oh yeah, definitely. I feel like I could place top 2, if not first.
Duels, you've got this break, and it's not really a break because you're still working. One event and the next.
So what I do is I kind of, now it's individual time, I kind of focus on what I need to work on. I look at my past matches and what I did wrong, not necessarily what I did wrong, but opportunities that I missed, and I focus on those, and I try to get better at what I'm weak at.
So, kind of a similar question. How did you find wrestling?
Wrestling really. I was going through a loss in the family. Really emotional time for us because that dog meant everything to us, and I had a lot of built-up aggression from it, and wrestling just really life changed, just everything changed for me.
And what is it? You get on the mat and you find a happy place? Is that?
Yes, sir.
So one we don't want to make mad. Absolutely. She's going to hurt somebody. So I guess it's kind of the same thing. While you're wrestling, you're also kind of trying to set an example to make this more attractive, to bring more team members in down the road.
I hope one day a lot of girls will see that. And I did the in-school match this year, and a lot of girls didn't know, like, going to practice and going to these tournaments, like, you're actually doing it. And a few girls came up scared, could I maybe try next year? I'm like, absolutely, come out. You can try whenever. This year, just come out and try. I think you'll really enjoy it.
Coach, it sounds like you've got a pretty good thing going here.
Oh, yeah. And our big weakness invites aggression. So how strong do you want to be? And that's what I tell them, right? So in life, they're going to have to fight for their marriage, fight for all these different things. They're going to have to be strong. They're going to have to be, self-secure. And wrestling really does that. It's amazing what it brings out and how, they come in, all puppy dog-eyed at the beginning, and they walk out, at the end of the season with their, their heads high and just so much. Absolutely amazing.
So that's kind of what the program has been built around at this point. Like the girls' team was an offshoot of the guys for a little bit, but now it feels like you all are pretty independent of the guys' program, doing things separately and going to separate events.
Right, and I had been coaching the men's team for along with Coach Kate, Coach Humphreys prior to that. So I'd been around the Maryville men's team for the past 15 years. This is the first year that I took over as the head coach, and one of the biggest things I was wanting to put in there is getting them separated, getting their off season with just them. They were more comfortable with it. They learned a lot of technique, very advanced stuff. So, they may be able to, reiterate, what it's meant to them to be a little bit separated.
Well, give us a little bit of the rundown. Individual, regional. How many advance in each weight class to state from?
4.
Top 4 go on the state?
Top 4, yes, sir.
And so there's.
Yep,
which is a little bit different than the guys' side.
Right, just because of numbers. So that as that grows, we'll have to.
The result is you get to go to the Ag Expo Center if you win there.
That's right.
Which is always one of our favorite conversations. Because it is Division II I noticed Division II has found a way to get to a high school gym. And I'm not surprised by that. I'm glad they do. It's a quality event. It just depends. Let me give you this one. If you could look in the crystal ball right now, how good are you going to be feeling in March?
Pretty solid.
Confident answer.
It is.
What about for the other Hannah?
I'm going to do pretty great coming up. I feel pretty confident in what I can do. I believe I'll place at state and make it to state as well. So I think I'll be pretty good.
Coach, the people rolling up mats, or can they do it? Or do they have?
We don't have to roll up the mats at state.
I can always determine the team. I always get a glimpse as whether it takes them 5 minutes or 30 minutes.
Participation, that's the problem. So we're in the individual part of the season now, so they dip out as soon as they can. But
focus it growing and improving. Any shout outs you need to give to parents or supporters or people that are helping this team come?
And I won't give the particular businesses, but there are some businesses early. Our biggest problem with us is we have to travel more than the guys. And also we have some parents, that just do a phenomenal job. She does a phenomenal job helping out the ladies and, travel, food baskets and everything. It's pretty amazing. But, Coach Kate, he's done a great job. Director, Mr. Harris, Coach Harris has done a great job really supporting the program, and that means a lot to us.
Well, going to state. We have a thing here where we try to get state champions on the show as much as we can. So if you need some extra incentive, we wish you all the best of luck, and thank you for coming in and visiting this morning.
Thank you for having us.
Mike,
Donnie Moore, I got a scoop here this morning.
All right.
I'm gonna pitch my hometown a little bit.
Uh-oh.
There's a basketball player in Greenfield, Indiana, and I've mentioned him before. Braylon Mullins goes to Greenfield Central. Last week against Pendleton Heights, hit the game-winning shot. Greenfield Central is 17-0. They're the only team in Indiana undefeated at this point in the season, and they won their conference last. Here's a player that's a junior. He's got another year to go, and I think he's averaging about 27.5, 28 points a game, and he's got offers from Indiana, Purdue, Notre Dame, Iowa, and Louisville, and I don't know. I don't see Tennessee on the list, but maybe Rick Barnes might ought to check into him a little bit.
Probably should.
Many people think he's the number one player in the state right now. He's about 6'5". He's done an outstanding job up there and a great individual. So I did over 50 points, Marcus. I think it's worth mentioning. Huh?
Say so.
Hey, it's time to turn the page. When we return, of the week segment will be up. You're listening to the Goatee Sports page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
The Bluetick Tavern is home to the tastiest pizza in Blount County. Try our signature Broadway barbecue pizza, grilled chicken and red onions covered in mounds of mozzarella. Or sink your teeth into our one-of-a-kind chicken and bacon pizza, made with an olive oil base, grilled chicken, bacon. Bluetick Tavern also has salads, sandwiches, and the area's largest beer selection. Regularly recognized as the best pizza in Blount County, it's the Bluetick Tavern, located at 128 West Broadway in downtown Maryville. The Roger L. Newman Company began in 1984 with a vision of providing Blount County with excellent heating and cooling service. Mr. Newman also wanted a real business. No gimmicks and no high-pressure sales. They just fix it or replace it. They want to stay within your budget and make you comfortable. Their motto still stands true today. Call us first, we'll be there. Call Roger L. Newman Company at 982-5446 or visit online at rogerlnewman.com. Cooler temperatures are approaching. Upgrade your furnace now for as little as $50 a month.
Your newspaper? That's right. The Daily Times is your newspaper, tailored to where you live, emphasizing the things that affect you and keeping track of the people and players in our community. The award-winning Daily Times can be delivered each morning right to your door or inbox with the latest in local news and sports. For a 30-day free trial offer, call 981-1100 and begin enjoying your life, your times, every day with the Daily Times.
For over 50 years and 3 generations, the people of Blount County have trusted Stevenson Tire with their vehicles and their families. Our mission has always been simple: to provide quality products at reasonable prices with exceptional customer service. Featuring tire products from Michelin, BF Goodrich, Uniroyal, Bridgestone, Firestone, and Yokohama, Stevenson Tire also offers alignment and brake services at affordable prices. Stevenson Tire Company, 2411 East Broadway Avenue in Maryville. Call 983-1621 or online at stevensontire.net. Waters Equipment is your East Tennessee New Holland agriculture and construction dealer. Waters Equipment has been serving Blount County for 48 years and has 2 locations in Maryville for sales and service for New Holland equipment. Offering shop and field service for trucks and equipment of all brands, Waters offers equipment rentals for New Holland skid steer, Mini X, and tractors. Call 238-9000 for your rental needs. That's 238-9000. Waters Equipment New Holland. Excellence in service.
Welcome back to the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards along with the rest of our broadcast crew, and now it's time for the Goatee Sports Page Player of the Week segment featuring Daily Times senior reporter Marcus. Where quality service is always a priority, proudly serving Blount County years. And Marcus, you got a group in here this morning, Heritage Basketball, their boys basketball.
So we have something a little bit different this week in that our Player of the Week is going to the team. Their support. So their plaque is going to the team this week because The boys won the regular season district title and secured the #1 seed earlier this week.
Great.
So, and Coach, congratulations. It's just a remarkable kind of district schedule that you all have played to and come out on top of for the first year in this classification. So, this season is kind of developed for you guys.
Well, this kind of goes back when I first came in my first year. That's still with us, and we've added a couple other classes. Kind of unique. They've kind of come in. They're extremely coachable, and they work not just at practice, but they go work on their own individually. They play AAU. And not only is that going to make them better individually, but it makes our team better as a whole. And they've done that. Coming in behind them, have got players who have that similar mindset. It's an extremely coachable group. They play. And it's a team that I saw. You don't know what to take away when you're playing in the summer camp. Some coaches swear by it. And we saw during the summer the way that we were competing and the way that we were playing. And then something that we did was we went out and we got kind of adventurous and we continued to schedule. And if you look at 13 losses, and a lot of people look at our record and think 14 and 13, whatever. But if you look at 9 of those 13 losses, they've come to Sevier County, Upperman, Kingston, Knox West, teams that will probably win. If they don't win 20 games, they're going to be right there. And in some of those games, Sevier County in overtime on Thursday. This team has gotten better and better as the year has went on. Always had that they came in with, and they're continuing to see it now that he's a junior, and they've just always had that, and it's just it's kind of a day in and day out, and that's the biggest part as to why you've kind of seen this transformation. I think it's my spiel.
Well, go ahead and introduce the sophomore and the junior you were pointing to.
Ms. Eli Williams. He's a sophomore. He's our leading scorer. He was an all-district player last year as a freshman in our old district. Anywhere. He's averaging about 18 points a game for us right now. I was looking the other day at his ankle injury. If you look at how many points he scored this year and the amount of points he scored last sophomore, that's not something you don't normally see until somebody's like Leighton or junior. He's slowly approaching that. And this guy over here beside him, Parker King, junior, played a lot for us last year as a sophomore. He dressed varsity as a freshman. He's had some big games for us, 24-point game against William Blount, does a little bit of everything for us. Undersized, but he'll battle inside, just a glue guy for us. He's not going to go out and get us 20 every night, but he's somebody, a good player on the other for the other team, and just does a variety of different things for us that really help us.
Well, let me put Parker on the spot first, because hey, why not? We'll go with the age over beauty, but you traveled varsity as a freshman. You saw this last year. Does it feel a little bit playing in Maryville as district games, but playing these teams that you maybe didn't see as much the first?
Play these teams like Southville, Sequoia, and all them. You compare them to West and the Farragut's and the Maryvilles. Playing those teams is make it even more better when we get down the road in district play and regional play. you look back and you play these teams, it's just gonna help you make better.
It's strange seeing some of these guys that you may not know as well, because you get a pretty good feel when you play some of these teams too. Like you know those faces and know what you're going to do, but there's some of these guys you may not have seen before. Is that a little bit different, where you're just seeing them on literally?
So we're going into a game. We're always going to be prepared on defensive end, on who, and it's just our job to go out there and guard them and execute the game plan.
Eli, you ready to be picked on? Okay,
go ahead.
Yeah, I mean you don't seem to mind. Just looking at some of the things that have gone on through the season, it just on paper it looked really well through January, and now that we're into February, did it feel like you all found something during those two Christmas tournaments?
Yeah, and even Gavin French, our point guard, he was out for the first
6-7 games.
6-7 games. I mean,
right.
They were. I'm not there, so they're all shooting the ball a ton. So they were all getting better at the start of the year, and then once me and Gavin came in, we got a few Christmas tournament games, and we go into. And I think that's really helped us because we're swinging the ball great. Our defense is improving overall as we go on.
Coach, you kind of something there. There's sometimes is an upside to a minor injury in that you can build some.
Earlier in the year, Eli missed the first 6 games, and like he said, guard, he missed the first 7, and say it kind of calmed us down. We move the ball a lot better. We take better care of the ball. Not that we didn't. Guard's presence on the floor. He's a smart player for a freshman. He's pretty mature. Getting him back was big, and of course getting Eli back with the way that he can score. Step up, and they had to play. Guys who maybe didn't start were put into the starting lineup, and we're having to play meaningful minutes. They might not have been in. So in some ways, you look at, we also, when those guys were out, we started 3-8. And we were getting our nose busted better when we got to the Christmas season, and we were just playing basketball. We weren't going to school. We were just kind of focusing on basketball. Came back after Christmas when we played William Blount at home, and we had we probably should have won. We just didn't do some things late. I knew then that when we had a chance to beat them, a really good, they continued to see that. So, and here's the thing with these guys, and I'm going to go ahead and say this. Winning the district in the regular season is really nice, but this is a tournament sport, and we want to produce and win come tournament time too.
And tournaments to play in, because I'm looking at this and y'all played in the Classic. They're hosting the district tournament. You're going to know that, Jim.
Yeah.
That sounds like a good, smart call on somebody's part.
At the time, I don't. Played 3 games, plus we're going over there to play them Tuesday, so we'll have played 4 games in that gym. So, yeah, that's I don't know if that's strategic or not, just coincidence or luck maybe.
Want to play a
after Tuesday, yeah.
Guys, what was it like? Celebration for this? What happened when that game was over?
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be a celebration because that's a great milestone. But I mean, we all know that as he said, it's a good milestone.
Does it feel a little bit different knowing you're going to go into a district tournament with the target on your back?
I mean, you always like having the target on your back. It happened a couple weeks ago at Loudon. We were heavy favorited. We've beat them before, and then it's like to be a top dog and then get knocked off, and then it's just getting that 1 seed. We don't want just a 1 seed in the regular season. We want to win the whole thing.
Well, he went right on the other question, Coach. Set you up. In the district so far, you just got the 1 game left. But did you passing game as to a degree to get that? You'd rather get that loss in the regular season than the postseason, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're still pretty young. You know, we start freshman, sophomore, and a couple juniors. You don't know how you're going to respond to that. But these games, they've always been the next 2 days at practice. We had 2 good days of practice, and we went to South Doyle on Friday night in a game that we had to win on the road, and it was kind of a tough place to play. One of those things where maybe it was good for us to face some adversity at the end of the year and drop one like that to see how we could come back from it. Our league at the very beginning, but as it continued on, it's like, hey, it's a possibility. Get us back, and I think both these guys, that was a game that we didn't necessarily play. It wasn't one of our better games. I mean, not taking away from Loudon. Good things, they made plays down the stretch. We didn't play well overall.
So the big question, game where the bus driver mistakenly got on Pillissippi Parkway out of habit to go to West Knoxville instead of, because everybody knows.
No, that's not been an issue, but I could see how it'd be the case. But of course, the thing about it is we still play Maryville, we still play William Blount. We're always going to play those 2 teams just because of county and financially. It's just we.
Well, just to give us a quick shout out though, district tournament's going to start when?
It'll actually start on what will be the 15th. There'll be like a 4-5, and then we'll play the winner of that the next day on Friday, which I think is the 16th.
That's right.
Tuesday, which I think is the 20th. So we'll get 2 games, and from there we'll be playing in the region the next Saturday, either at home or away, based upon how we perform.
I'm going to say we wish you the best of luck.
Yeah, thank you.
I was telling the Maryville girls, you can win your way back on the show. We'd love to have people with champions in their name on the show.
Sure.
But thank you for getting these guys up on a Saturday morning to come in here and visit with us. And thank you for taking the time. We appreciate it. And we'll Mike, we'll go ahead and turn the page.
Okay, Mark, it's time for when we return. It's the Boyd's Sports Spotlight as Blount County Sports Hall of Fame. We'll have sports headlines, and then our crew will talk some Tennessee basketball. You're listening to the Goatee Sports page, and now stay.
Since 1925, Anderson Lumber in Alcoa has proudly served and supported our local communities. But did you know Anderson Lumber is so much more than a lumber store? You can stop in anytime and see our incredible kitchen showroom. From floors to cabinets and everything in between. Anderson Lumber's experts can help you design your dream kitchen. And then our install team will make it a reality. Wow. For anything home, we welcome you to visit Anderson Lumber in Alcoa or shop over 67,000 items online at AndersonLumberCompany.com. Anderson Lumber, 1925.
Aubrey's is known for real comfort, real food, real good. But remember, County, Aubrey's Maryville has been a strong supporter of local schools and sport programs for more than 15 years. From baseball to football, dance teams, and marching bands, Aubrey's has helped schools and youth programs generate comfort, real food, real good. See what's on the menu at aubreysrestaurants.com.
We all want our loved ones to be safe. Denzo and safer vehicles. Join the automotive industry with Denzo in a fast, challenging, clean, and safe on-site healthcare facility, cafes, fitness center, Start your future now. Entry-level production positions start at $16 an hour for. Visit denzocareers.com/Maryville to learn more and apply. Merlin's Music World in Maryville since 1987. Guitars, amplifiers, lessons, sound system and video system. Also offers a 24-track digital recording studio featuring audio engineer Rusty Chambers. Visit Merlin or call 977-0093.
It's payday, and your money comes to you with no waiting. It's the fastest and most secure way. It's easy. All you need is your account number and our routing number. Find out more at tvacreditunion.com. Join us. Federally insured by NCUA. Some restrictions apply. Ask for details.
Sports page veteran Donnie Moore with this week's. Donnie, last week we made some picks. Patrick Mahomes and heading to the Super Bowl, and I left my heart in San Francisco.
That's true.
But we'll have to wait a week, but we'll talk about that next week. But anyway,
Indeed.
I'll turn it over to you for some sports headlines. Huh?
Thank you, brother. Yeah. I was.
Yeah, I think Tony and we took San Francisco. I think a lot of people a lot of you guys like the Baltimore Ravens, but I tell you what, Patrick Mahomes, I tell you what, he's hard to bet against. You know,
he sure is.
Huh?
He sure is.
He's a player.
He's getting to be one of the great quarterbacks
really
of all time.
And he can go back to back, right? If they win,
definitely.
If they win next Sunday.
Definitely. All right, let's bring you some sports headlines here, brought to you as always. The Super Bowl is set. Yeah. Fast signs. That's the way.
And we were glad to see him.
Yeah, we were. We didn't get to see him long. He just kind of came in like a whirlwind. But we're always glad to see him.
Kind of like seeing Bigfoot across the greenway.
Yeah.
You know,
There was a sighting
there for a second.
Taking a picture.
Yeah, we should to prove he was here.
Yeah.
You don't get to see him often.
We save a chair for
it. The San Francisco 49ers will meet the Kansas City Chiefs at 6:30 p.m. Vegas, Nevada, the home of the Raiders. The culminating game of the 2023-24 NFL season will be broadcast on CBS and live Paramount Plus and YouTube TV subscription services. Game 6:30 p.m.
Yeah. I hope it's as exciting as the playoffs.
I do too.
You know, the two playoffs. And NFL exciting.
Been great games.
You know, I know Detroit in lead and what do you call it? They had an implosion.
They imploded. Yeah, they sure did.
They were looking good there at the half, and then it all fell apart. Well,
a little bit.
They got a little greedy there.
We'll call that a little bit.
Fourth down. Gosh, what a game that turned out to be, and then of course Kansas City and Baltimore.
0-2. Well, plenty of tickets were available this week for next Sunday's Super Bowl game, providing fans have lots of cash to spend. The average price for a ticket on one secondary market Monday morning was an astounding each.
Yeah, and since we'll be broadcasting there next week, and Brian,
hear that?
Isn't it? And our plane
sure
tickets
is.
out there, and our motel rooms in Vegas, and the entertainment that
wish I'd been invited on this trip.
Now, granted, current ticket prices could decline, but they are more than double the final average in Glendale, Arizona, which was $5,795. The cheapest ticket this week for the game, only $8,001
last year. Yeah.
True that.
And she's got certain, Tokyo, Japan.
Yeah, Paris, I think.
Oh,
yeah.
Paris or
Yeah.
somewhere.
Tokyo,
and she's got to make some arrangements to get to Vegas.
Yeah, she crosses the international date line,
So
though.
they'll
That's
have to keep an update
Well,
on her. They're going to have to.
There's a tracker.
Yeah.
They're setting up a tracker.
Like Santa Claus.
Because she's supposed to be at the Grammys tomorrow night. Do a show in Japan and make it back for the Super Bowl.
If she can make it to the Super, those tickets are going to go even higher if she can make it.
Well, it's not like she's going to be going through the stand selling popcorn.
Well,
let's not
maybe
get
that's a
them
prop
ideas.
bet.
That is a.
It's whether she's going to come down and sing with Usher.
Well, yeah.
At half. Yeah.
Huh? Or I wouldn't mind her just singing up there where she's at. Up there
Send a microphone up
Well, the
there.
way they've crowned her, maybe Usher should go up and see her there.
Yeah.
Well, Mike, 7-time Formula One champion Lewis Hamilton dropped a bomb on the world of motorsports. Mercedes at the end of the season to join Team Ferrari. Hamilton had signed a 2-year extension with the Silver Arrows at the end of August, but the 39-year-old Brit in that deal that makes it possible for him to bolt to Ferrari in 2025.
I believe he's Marker
Yeah.
won all those championships with to maybe break Michael's record there when he goes. But what a great career Lewis Hamilton's had.
Oh, he
and now he's
has.
going to be the storied Ferrari team.
Yes.
So that'll be interesting to see how that all plays
Sure
out.
will.
Exciting. And the other bombshell ready to go
Yes.
into Formula One.
Yep.
And they're highly disappointed on that deal.
Yep.
And I am
Is
too.
there a U.S. car maker in 26? Like Cadillac is trying.
Right.
Is that
Cadillac.
ready?
Yeah. We're going to use that.
Because that's one thing I always put together is F1 and Cadillac.
I'm just really disappointed that they didn't get in because you'd have an American driver probably in Formula One.
Yeah.
And they've got, 3 races? 3, and there could be another one added. But they need an American driver.
They sure do.
You know, if you're going to come over
Love
here.
to see it. Well, the NCAA women's all-time scoring list Wednesday night at Northwestern when the Hawkeyes dismantled the to 74. Clark entered the game 4th on the career score, points behind Missouri State's Jackie Stiles and 13 points behind 2. Currently sitting at 3,424 career points after Wednesday's 35-point, 10 assist, 6 rebound, 2 steals. Clark now sets her sights on the all-time record of 3,027 held by Washington's Kelsey Plum. The Hawkeye senior on pace to claim the scoring record on February 15th versus
scoring.
No, it's
because
separate.
all you mentioned there was women's.
Mm-hmm. It's separate.
It is separate. They don't do it that way.
No, they don't. I don't know why.
Yeah. You have an answer for that, Marcus?
I do not. Well, she'd still be chasing Maryville, right?
Oh, yeah. She'd still be paid.
I mean, I would love if once close she is to
I
it.
would too.
Yeah, I just think that's a little odd that you would,
so would
from
I.
the coaching end of it.
Now in the age of equality.
Is that her name?
Well,
she
she
broke Krzyzewski's record.
Yeah.
And then, they made don't mix the records for players. I just find that a little.
I don't know if you saw that one late, but USC and the guard for USC put up 51 points of the 67 they scored.
Oh boy!
Good grief!
Good grief! She had a night. I mean, we talk about Caitlin Clark, but that 51-point game was pretty impressive to watch last night.
Yeah. Well, her NIL deal's probably pretty impressive.
She's averaging 32.1 points a game.
They're not being investigated.
Goodness.
So.
Wherever they're playing.
Yeah. Definitely. Well, can you blame them?
I mean, all over the Big Ten, wherever they're playing, there's.
Sad story of the statue of Jackie Robinson that was stolen from the youth baseball park in Wichita, Kansas.
I saw the photos.
Dismantled and burned on Tuesday and was deemed unsalvageable.
Found it in a dumpster, it seems like.
Now, agreed to replace the statue, including additional funding provided to support I think almost $188,000 to do that.
Well, I hope the replacement's got some rebar inside of it to kind of keep this from happening again.
It was bronze.
It was
made out of bronze.
It was one thing found burned in a dumpster, so that's not what they were doing.
No, absolutely. That's all it was.
It was just kind of sad because when you saw the photo, it was just off at the ankles.
Yeah, sitting on home plate. Yep. On this day in sports, February 3rd, for 4 players. I bet they wish they hadn't. I don't know who those 4 players were, but were they worth Rod Carew?
Well, there's a trivia question for you.
Yeah. 1980, Larry Holmes, TKO's Lorenzo Holmes.
You're before me still, Donnie. I wasn't watching boxing at that.
He was. He was a pretty good fighter, Donnie. I remember Larry Holmes.
I remember Larry Holmes.
I just remember, didn't he go down like 19 seconds to Tyson or something later on?
Oh, yeah. Tyson murdered him.
Yeah,
okay.
1980.
1990, Darryl Strawberry voluntarily enters Smither Center. Darryl Strawberry, that's a name. 1990, also, jockey Bill Shoemaker. Listen to this, 40,350 horse races. Bill Shoemaker.
If I had $1 for every time I lost.
1993, Marge Schott suspended for 1 year due to racist comments.
Remember that?
Boy, she was outspoken.
Yeah.
Marge Schott.
Yeah, Charlie used to talk about St. Bernards, and they would eat all the food. They'd have a buffet set up, and the dogs. And I guess nobody wanted to say anything to Marge.
Oh, absolutely. You couldn't say anything to Marge.
She'd probably tell you, if you don't like the dogs eating the food, just don't eat it. Huh?
Wow.
I'd be trying to eat the dog, I think, but okay.
1988, Florida Panthers, Dino Ciccarelli, 100 career goals.
Nobody noticed
he must have been
because Gretzky was still around.
Yeah, in 1998. Yeah, no kidding. On this day, February 3rd, 1914, George Neeson. I knew that name from somewhere. Trampoline. In 19, he was born in 1914.
Can he take it back?
He was born in Blairstown, 10. Invented the trampoline.
Yeah.
I mean,
I've seen many of those blow away in high winds.
Yeah.
I know this name. Born in 1926.
Yeah, Art Alphonse.
Yes, sir. He was a drag racer. Yeah. He won the 3 times the World Land Green Monster. Born in Akron, Ohio, died in 2007. Art Alphonse. 1940, born on this day, the Vikings, NFL quarterback, born in Richmond, Virginia. He's 84 years old today.
Super Bowls, but never could get one.
No.
Yeah, Bud Grant was the coach of those teams.
Yes, sir.
They had great teams, you know.
Sure did.
Did a Super Bowl.
Another famous NFL quarterback born on this day, 19. Played at Purdue.
Yeah.
Played for the Miami Dolphins. Only team he played. 1971 Player of the Year.
Boiler up.
Yes, sir. 1952, born on this day, Fred Lynn, outfielder for the Red Sox, the Angels, and the Orioles, born in Chicago. He's 72 years old today. And in 1968, born on this day, Leroy Thompson, NFL running back for the Kansas City Chiefs. Brought to you by Fast Signs. Whoosh.
There it went.
There they went.
Bring in Donnie Moore and Marcus Fitzsimmons, and we're going to talk some UT basketball here. And it's kind of a mixed bag last week for Tennessee.
It was.
They went to Vandy and won 75-62, but on Monday night they lost. Shocker, 63-59 at home, and I guess the real shocker was the one in Knoxville, because they just don't lose home games.
No,
but they didn't,
not often.
They didn't play. Told everybody they could just relax and lounge back and watch the game, drink them a soda and have some potato chips and some sandwiches. And
we all thought they could.
Best part of the game.
Best
part of the game was watching Vanderbilt's coach, what he had. Pair of tennis shoes on, and Marcus,
he's a sharp
the first
dresser.
half couldn't relax a whole lot. It was kind of iffy after the first half, but Tennessee pulled away the second half, and Vandy went to a zone. Much else you wrote.
Well, that, and it's good. There, this, Mike, you're a shooter. Vandy had 3 or 4 big shots that they hit in that first half that went in, where they hit it. You're not going to get those all game.
Yeah.
And they didn't. And when those went away, Tennessee pulled away.
He got 32 against Vanderbilt, and he got against South Carolina, and he got 12 of them in the last 3 minutes. He just he went off.
He sure did.
Hit some ungodly shots in the last 3 minutes and almost pulled the game out. Marcus, in that South Carolina game, it just looked like South Carolina was some of Rick Barnes' old medicine.
It did look that way.
It really did. I'm not talking about this year because they're playing. Especially last year, Tennessee would rely on playing really strong defense, and then they would go down and milk the shot clock and make the other team work. And that's exactly what South Carolina did. Taking the whole time on the shot clock. And in Tennessee, it just didn't look like they had any legs. And on the offense to shoot the basketball, they shot very poor. 46%, 5 of 21 from three-point range. And if Dalton Knecht hadn't hit those shots in the last 2 or 3 minutes, that three-point deal would have been even worse than that. But and free throw line, that's what Tennessee was good at in years leading up to this one. And by God, came away. They stole one right here in Knoxville.
They did. And, there's some of those issues. Point where it's continuing to be suddenly become a struggle, which is very uncharacteristic. But even
really
like you've got that issue going on about it after the Vanderbilt game, after I heard Ron Slay talking about it, because he had asked Barnes about the role that be disappearing, and he, after the Saturday's game, he that, and it sounded very much like both of those players had come and said, "We want to give the ball up to connect to score." All they want to do is win at this point. And they can score. They don't feel like they need to. And the question was, okay, if Connect goes cold or somebody's covering him, can guys still step up and score? And I think some of South Carolina indicates maybe they can't.
Yeah,
do some work.
Ziegler was 0 for 6 and had 2 points, and James, he threw up 3 shots and hit one of them. And he was 2 for 8 for 6 points. So in answer, they didn't pick up the slack against South Carolina and 19 points in that ball game before he went off with the 12 points in the last 3 minutes. So there's your answer. Going to hurt them in the tournament if they get in there and they're just relying on Connect, because we've seen that before. So we'll see.
They did a great job on
one-trick pony.
They did a great job on Adu too, because that was probably that's the kind of game we would expected from him last year. That kind of output is not what we've expected from him this year.
Yeah. Well, Tennessee missed enough bunnies in that to put that game away. They missed a lot of easy shots right out of the goal and taking the ball to the basket. That not a team that I think last year Tennessee beat by overall 40 points, 20 points and 20 points at both places.
We're going to talk about it with the Tennessee-Kentucky game today, but how much bigger would that game be if they both hadn't lost to South Carolina in the last 10 days?
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah.
I mean,
I'll tell you, anytime you play that slow down game, over. See, we didn't mention that. That goes along with Rick Barnes. The ball over, you don't beat yourself. South Carolina's doing a great job with that. You work on defense. You play great defense yourself. I'm going to tell you right now, South Carolina's going to be in every game they play. It's going to be hard to put them away when you play them. Well, let's talk. I watched them the other night and guard anybody.
No, they can't. They're just not good defensively at all.
Yeah. I don't know how many schools. That's how many schools are there out there playing basketball?
Man.
But that's got to rate them right. I mean to tell you, they lost that game against Florida the other night because they couldn't stop anything. I mean, they were just letting people drive right. Huh?
I wouldn't count on Kentucky to play like that, but they had some rough games early. They had a lot of success in the last 6 weeks. They came back to earth with Florida, and
well, they haven't played very well on the road. Kentucky's been vulnerable on the road, and now they lost a home game. That game the other night, Florida took that crowd right out of the game. You didn't even know they were there. I heard them yell, "Go Big Blue," maybe once or twice, but it didn't last.
I thought last Saturday, it was funny because Vanderbilt, I don't know if you caught it, they turned on music a couple times to drown out the crowd yelling "Go Big Orange" because it was the in Vanderbilt's building.
A lot of Tennessee fans.
What's the storyline going into this one, Marcus? Both teams coming off. When they come off a loss than they do coming off a big win. Well, both of them are coming off losses. so
Rick Barnes the nod because he done so well, but last games. So I don't know. It feels like these are two teams that are we've talked about earlier in the year are going to be, could be around at the end of the year. And who kind of going, I think that's what we're going to get from the outcome, because I couldn't project who's going into this, who's going to have a favor.
I really like Tennessee set the rhythm on Kentucky's offense. I don't think Kentucky's going to get that 90 points that they're used to scoring. And I really like the Vols going up there. I think they can get a little bit more balance in their scoring just based on a great shot beating them up there tonight.
Well, I do like Connect. He seems like he plays better on the road, so I do like that. And I've got a stat for you. Guess who's the analyst today?
Jimmy Dykes?
Yeah.
Well, Jimmy likes him too.
He does?
Yeah, he likes him. Well, there's a lot at stake. Right now, Lenardi's got Tennessee. And then, of course, you got ramifications as far as the regular season championship. You know, Kentucky's got 3 losses. For Kentucky to be a regular season champion, and if Tennessee was having to lose, that'd give them 3 losses, and then regular season championship, and they were picked to win the regular season championship. That gets in marginal territory for them. But, I don't know. It's going to be an entirely different game. Don't expect it to be an up and down affair. It's going to be fun to watch, and hopefully the Vols can come out on top. Rick Barnes has done well against. Can't pull another one off tonight, Marcus, huh?
I don't see. There's no reason not to.
Yeah. Hey, it's time for a break, and when listening to the Goatee Sports page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
Waters Equipment is your East Tennessee New Holland. Waters Equipment has been serving Blount County for 48 years and has 2 locations in Maryville for sales and service for New Holland equipment. And equipment of all brands, Waters offers equipment rentals for New Holland skid steer, Mini X, and tractors. Call 238-9000. Waters Equipment New Holland, excellence in service. Over 50 years and 3 generations, the people of Blount County have trusted Stevenson Tire with their vehicles and their families. Our mission has always been simple: to provide quality products at reasonable prices. With tire products from Michelin, BF Goodrich, Uniroyal, Bridgestone, Firestone, and Yoke. Stevenson Tire also offers alignment and brake services at affordable prices. Stevenson Tire Company, 2411 East Broadway Avenue in Maryville. Call 983-1621 or online.
That's right. The Daily Times is your newspaper. You live, emphasizing the things that affect you and keeping track of the people and players in our community. The award-winning Daily Times can be delivered each morning right to your door or inbox with the latest in local news and sports. For a 30-day free trial offer, call 981-1100 and begin enjoying your life, your times, every day with the Daily.
Pizza in Blount County. Try our signature Broadway barbecue pizza, grilled chicken and red onions covered in mounds of mozzarella. Of a kind chicken and bacon pizza, made with an olive oil base, grilled chicken, bacon, red onions, and covered in Brussels petals. The Bluetick Tavern also has salads, sandwiches, and the area's largest beer selection. Regularly recognized as the best pizza in Blount County, it's the Bluetick Tavern, located 128 West Broadway in downtown Maryville. The Roger L. Newman Company began in 1984 with a vision of providing Blount County. Also wanted a real business. No gimmicks and no high-pressure sales. They want to stay within your budget and make you comfortable. Their motto still stands true today. Call us first, we'll be there. Call Roger L. Newman Company at 982-5446 or visit online at rogerlnewman.com. Cooler temperatures are approaching. Upgrade your furnace now for as little as $50 a month.
Welcome back to the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards, and I'm here with Marcus Fitzsimmons, and we're going to get into some bold predictions and pick some games here for today. And we got some big rivalry games that's on slate. The standings, Alabama leads the league at 7-1. South Carolina 6-2. Auburn 5-3, and Kentucky's 5-3, and Florida's 5-3, and then you got a slew of teams, 2 or 3 teams. Southeastern Conference, but I'm looking at a lot of parity. What do you think?
I think like I said, I think there's 3 teams that are legitimate contenders to be around at the end of March. Make some noise that have potential, and we'll see that's what I love about basketball. We'll see how they're playing in 6 weeks.
Yeah, and
we'll see what this tournament looks like.
Well, Donnie,
but there's a lot to like in the SEC.
Yeah,
right now.
It's been in the Southeastern Conference, and that's taken its toll on. And of course, one home game, and Tennessee's lost one road game and one home game. But I don't know. It used to be that you win 500 on the road, you got a chance to win the Southeastern Conference regular season. But the way it looks early was. I'm not married to Alabama at 7-1. No. I mean, they were down to Georgia the other night, like 17 points, and came back and beat them. But I don't know. You may win this league with more than 4 losses. Could that happen?
It's not out of the realm of impossibility anyway.
I don't think so.
It could happen.
I don't think so, but they got Kentucky coming at home. They got Florida coming in here. I mean, they got some hard place to play down there.
It is, yeah.
So Tennessee, they got some work to do here coming up.
They sure do.
Let's look at. We'll pick them. We'll see how we do. And Donnie, I'm with you. Tennessee at Kentucky, and Tennessee's about a 1.5 favorite.
Oh, I think come back and win this one. I don't think Coach Barnes. Like you said, he's had a lot of success.
The play up.
Like you said, he's had a lot of success.
The play up there, and he's kind of got California. Is Coach Cal? Is he zest up there a little bit? You think?
I think you could have made that argument maybe 3 years ago or 2 years ago. This team doesn't feel that way.
Yeah.
This team feels like maybe like of a bubble, and maybe we're on the downside of that. But I think that because I think he's better with guys after he's had them a year and a half. When he's had them 2 years, they start playing a little bit better ball.
Well,
but if you want me to asking me to pick, I'm
all right. We got it. We're all Vol. We're all Vol.
All right.
We're all Vol.
Yeah. South Carolina.
Unless the NCAA.
South Carolina is at Georgia on a roll. They're feeling really good about themselves. Of course, they're coming off the big win at next game. Big game, next game. A downer a little bit. Then you got Georgia over there that loves to go down the front stretch and the back stretch and lead by 17 lengths, and then I'm going to take South Carolina. Just because Georgia just can't close. They can't close a game. Marcus?
I'm going to go the other way. I think Georgia's due. And it's going to come into play.
Okay. Donnie?
I like the way South Carolina played it, but I think South Carolina's coach has got them playing really well right now, so I'm going to take South Carolina.
All right. Georgia's a 1.5 point favorite going into that game, and I think Mike White, right? He's at Georgia.
Yeah,
Mike White. It's Danny White's brother, the athlete. Got him playing pretty well. He just got to close some games. Pearl, 4-point favorite at Ole Miss today. There's a couple teams playing well. Ole Miss 18-3 on the year, and Auburn It's
great.
a good game right there.
And it's the
I like that.
That'd be the game of the week right there.
7 o'clock game. It's going to be a nice lead into Tennessee, Kentucky. Both got momentum, but just being at home has made so much difference this year in the SEC.
Donnie?
You know, I can't.
I don't know whether Bruce is taking his shirt off today or not. See, if he's taking his shirt off, you know, maybe you should go with him. I don't know.
I think
okay. I'm going to take. I'm going
I'm not saying it's a bad pick. I just think it's a
big Bruce Pearl.
Either.
I'm not a big Bruce
That's
Pearl
pretty
fan.
much
Don't
a
get me wrong.
toss-up.
But I'll tell you what, I think he does an awful good job, and he's got that team playing pretty well. They played at home the other night against Vanderbilt. You know, I thought it was kind of sloppy. They didn't look real sharp, but
we got time for this last one. So
all right. Duke is at North Carolina.
Oh, I take Duke every time on that one.
Okay, Marcus has got Duke.
North Carolina. Yeah, I'm gonna take Duke.
Okay, and I'm going to take North Carolina.
And you know what? I know we're getting out. First SEC win today.
Wow.
Yeah, and what did?
good.
We didn't get to talk. What did Coach Trail call that game? One of them's won a game.
He called it the Battle of the Mullets.
There you go. There you
Mullets.
go. The Battle of the. All right, time to get out of here, Donnie?
Yes, it is.
All right, buddy. Hey, that'll do it for today's edition of the Goatee Sports Page. Thanks to Aaron Ishmael. For Donnie Moore and Marcus Fitzsimmons, until next Saturday, this is Mike Edwards, the Greenfield Gunner, wishing everyone.
And that's the final whistle. Join us again.